Good evening, and welcome to the St. Charles Parish Council meeting on Monday, March 18th at 6 p.m. in the council chambers in the parish courthouse. Please silence all electronic devices and remove all hats. This meeting is called to order with a prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance from Pastor Cody Cunningham with the First Baptist Church in Luling.
Let's pray. Father, we thank you for your goodness. We thank you for your grace. We thank you for even the gift of government and the way that you structured society. And God, we ask for your blessings upon the council meeting tonight. We pray that as different issues are discussed and decided, that our council members would just lead with justice and wisdom. And God, that your hand would be upon our parish and continue to bless it. And God, we ask these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Pastor Cunningham. Motion and a second is needed to approve the minutes from the regular meeting of March 4th, 2024. I have a motion by Ms. Skiba, second by Ms. O'Daniels. Please cast your votes. And that motion passes unanimously with Ms. Wilson absent for the evening. Special business, proclamations, canvass returns, etc. 2024-0106, a proclamation, French Language and Heritage Day. Mr. Commodore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Whereas in St. Charles Parish, Louisiana recognizes that French language is vitally important to the identity and the culture of the people who settled in this area of South Louisiana in the 17 and 1800s. Whereas we encourage all of our citizens to teach with great pride to our children all that they can about the French language, culture, and history that has made this area uniquely different than other areas of the United States. Whereas we encourage our citizens to promote and speak French in public venues and family gatherings. Whereas we encourage our local businesses to do business in French or in bilingual French and English. Whereas we recognize that the French language has always been a vital part of the culture and economy of St. Charles Parish, Louisiana, and is a multi-billion-dollar industry for the state of Louisiana. And whereas the Cajun dancers of Alamans Elementary School began in the mid-1980s, and Alamans Elementary educator keeps the tradition alive by continuing to preserve the Cajun dancers program. Now, be it resolved, we the members of St. Charles Parish Council and the parish president do hereby proclaim March 20, 2024 as French Language and Heritage Day. Ms. Tanya Taste, Ms. Wendy Salomon, Ms. Lisa Parang, and the Cajun dancers will be here to accept. Ms. Karen Beaudry will be here to present the reading of the proclamation in French.
Attendu que la paroisse de Saint-Charles, en Louisiane, reconnaît que la langue française est d'une importance vitale pour l'identité et la culture des personnes qui se sont installées dans cette région du sud de la Louisiane dans les années 1700 et 1800, et attendu que nous encourageons tous nos citoyens à enseigner avec une grande fierté à nos enfants tout ce qu'ils peuvent sur la langue, la culture et l'histoire française qui ont rendu cette région si différente de toutes les autres régions des États-Unis, et attendu que nous encourageons nos citoyens à promouvoir et à parler le français dans les lieux publics et les réunions familiales, et attendu que nous encourageons nos entreprises locales à faire des affaires en français et ou bilingues français et anglais, et attendu que nous reconnaissons que la langue française a toujours été un élément vital de la culture et de l'économie de la paroisse de Saint-Charles de Louisiane, et que c'est une industrie de plusieurs milliards de dollars pour l'État de Louisiane, et attendu que les danseurs cajuns de l'école élémentaire allemand ont vu le jour au milieu des années 1980, Une éducatrice de l'école élémentaire allemande perpétue la tradition en continuant de préserver le programme des danseurs cajuns. Par conséquent, être résolu, nous, les membres de la paroisse de Saint-Charles, le conseil de paroisse président, proclame pas la présente le 20 mars 2024 comme le jour de langue et d'héritage français. Two. One more. One, two, three. Thank you.
Take a minute, we'll let everybody reset, and we'll get back started again.
The folks? Yeah. The kid? No. Get down to the front.
All right, next up on the agenda, 2024-0107, a proclamation, Child Abuse Prevention Month. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairman. Whereas child abuse and neglect is a complex and ongoing problem in our society, affecting many children in our community. And whereas every child is entitled to be loved, cared for, nurtured, feel secure, and be free from verbal, sexual, emotional, and physical abuse and neglect. And whereas it is the responsibility of every adult who comes in contact with a child to protect that child's inalienable right to a safe, nurturing childhood. And whereas St. Charles Parish has dedicated individuals and organizations who work daily to counter the problem of child maltreatment and to help parents obtain the assistance they need. And whereas our communities are stronger when all citizens become aware of child maltreatment prevention and become involved in supporting parents to raise their children in a safe and nurturing environment. And whereas effective abuse prevention programs succeed because of partnerships among families, social service agencies, schools, religious and civic organizations, law enforcement agencies, and the business community. And whereas all citizens, community agencies, faith organizations, and businesses will work to increase their efforts to support families. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council, and the Parish President do hereby proclaim April 2024 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in St. Charles Parish and call upon the citizens, community agencies, faith groups, and business communities to increase their participation in our efforts to support families, thereby preventing child abuse and strengthening the communities in which we live. Here today to accept we have Jordan Giselle, Marcy Willette, and Doria Wilson.
One, two, three. One more. One, two, three. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. My name is Jordan Gazelle, and I'm here on behalf of Child Advocacy Services to accept this proclamation tonight. At Child Advocacy Services, we are a nonprofit that serves this area. Many of you may know us as CASA or by our CASA program, which is Court-Appointed Special Advocates. We get volunteers and train them in the community to work with kids who are in foster care. And then we also have our Children's Advocacy Center, where we provide free counseling services for kids. And I provide prevention, education classes, parenting classes, internet safety, pretty much anything you could think of to the community for free. So every month or every April, every year, we recognize Child Abuse Prevention Month. And the blue pinwheel is actually the symbol for child abuse prevention. So to raise awareness for that, we sell pinwheel gardens as a big fundraiser in April. So if you're interested in taking part in that, please reach out to our Destrehan office or visit our website, childadv.net. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Giselle. 2024-0108, a proclamation, Sexual Assault Awareness Month and Financial Literacy Month. Proclamation. Whereas sexual assault and financial literacy are the key issues for victims of domestic and sexual violence. At the same time, one of the greatest barriers to escaping a pattern of abusive behavior is economics. And whereas today's economy is exacerbating sexual assault, at the same time, it is limiting the options for survivors to get help. And whereas 99% of women who experience physical violence in a relationship also experience some form of economic abuse. Abusers use finances as an invisible weapon to keep victims trapped in an abusive relationship. And whereas the National Network to End Domestic Violence and the Allstate Foundation has teamed up to create a unique program that is helping survivors of abuse become financially literate and independent from those who continuously perpetrate abuse against them. And whereas the Allstate Foundation Purple Purse campaign is aimed at creating long-term safety and security for survivors through financial empowerment. The program ignites fundraising for hundreds of national, state, and local domestic violence organizations. And whereas the Metro Centers for Community Advocacy provides free and confidential services to women, children, and male survivors to enable families to regain their physical and emotional strength with the goal to provide assistance to anyone seeking help, and this is accomplished through state, federal, and local grant monies as well as donations. And whereas the mission of the Metro Centers for Community Advocacy is to break the cycle of violence and aid survivors of sexual assault, domestic violence, and stalking. Now, therefore, be it resolved that we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2024 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month and Financial Literacy in St. Charles Parish, and encourage all residents to educate themselves and speak out against sexual violence and to increase their understanding of financial stability. And I believe we have Ms. Darlene Santana to accept. Please come up.
There you go. Thank you. I'm going to do 2, okay? 1, 2, 3. All right, one more. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Good evening, Parish President Jewell and council members. I'd like to thank you guys so much for your support in raising awareness about domestic violence, sexual assault, stalking, and the need for financial assistance for the survivors that come to Metro for services. As the proclamation states, we are a nonprofit. We do provide free and confidential services for male, female, and child survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, or stalking. And our shelter will also take in a survivor if they have to flee with their pet. We've got a few pause shelters in the area. Metro and in the shelter in St. Bernard will take a pet because sometimes they won't leave if they got to leave their pet behind. So I'm very proud that we were able to do that. An update to the services, because we come thanks to you every year. We were excited we got grant funding to provide housing where we can pay 6 months to a year of rent and a deposit within St. Charles Parish. The survivor has to find a place, and we will work with the landlord to pay their rent and help them get on their feet. And we have other grant funds to help with the utilities, with the hope that we are giving them a hand up so that they can become independent, live a life free from the fear of abuse. So that was a tremendous help. Last fall, the state had some state general funds, and the Louisiana Coalition Against Domestic Violence fought for the funds. That's the only way to use it because we had to fight for it, where they got $7 million for the state. Our program got $450,000 to increase the shelter beds because there has been an unmet need for shelter. There's not enough beds across the whole state of Louisiana. So we did get funding. We were able to increase our emergency bed count from 15 to 25. So I'm sorry to say we needed it, but we have it should somebody need to flee. However, this current administration did not agree to continue the funding. So we are right now going to the legislature to try to get that money so that we can keep those 10 extra beds because we keep them full. If you know anybody that can talk to them to help us, the money was there and then they cut it because, and I know the state has other needs, but domestic violence shelters save lives. They save lives of the survivor and they save lives of law enforcement because a domestic violence call is one of the most dangerous calls our law enforcement officers have to go out to. So by us being able to take the survivor in, provide them shelter, it does save lives and it helps everybody. But if y'all want to know more about anything that we have, we're happy to come and meet with you privately, talk to you. We have an educator, Mark was here last year to address y'all. But we're here for the parish and everybody that we serve. So thank you so much for the proclamation. This does go in the multipurpose room so all our staff can see it. And we appreciate you and certainly appreciate you, Parish President Jewell. Thank you.
2024-0109, proclamation, Retired Teachers Day in St. Charles Parish. Ms. Skiba.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Whereas Louisiana's retired teachers have devoted their careers to the education and training of tens of thousands of Louisiana's youth, and whereas Louisiana's retired teachers have provided job and social skills training for adults throughout the state, and whereas Louisiana's retired teachers have rendered valuable service in diverse leadership roles to their communities and institutions throughout their careers, and continue to render such services as retirees. And whereas Louisiana's retired teachers represent the profession, which is given the basic responsibility for launching the careers of state and national leaders, and for laying the foundation for the welfare of all members of our society. And whereas Louisiana's retired teachers have toiled ceaselessly to improve the quality of life in the state and nation, often in less than adequate circumstances and for less than adequate pay. And whereas Louisiana's retired teachers represent a tremendous pool of experience and training which remains dedicated to the betterment of society everywhere, and whereas Louisiana's retired teachers represent a loyal, patriotic, and concerned citizenry, which provides dedicated and dependable support to the leaders in our communities, state, and nation. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the Parish President, do hereby proclaim Thursday, March 21st, 2024, as Retired Teachers Day in St. Charles Parish. And we have Mr. Billy Picard and Miss Connie Gasson and some others here to accept. And one day I hope to have one of those turquoise shirts myself.
I'm gonna get a little closer. There you go. 1, 2. I'm gonna do one more, okay? 1, 2, 3. Thank y'all.
I'll be quick. Billy P. Gordon. I represent the St. Charles unit of retired teachers. And we have some folks on here that have been through our school system. We have a retired person that is on the board. Lysandra is also a part of our unit. But retirees in the parish,
One day I will be.
retirees in the parish represent approximately 800 folks. So that's quite a few, and a lot of them go on into other fields of endeavor after they retire, including one of our council members. So on behalf of the 800 or so folks in our parish, thank you very much for recognizing us. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Picard. 2024-0110, a proclamation, Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month. Mr. Mobley.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Proclamation. Whereas Parkinson's disease is a chronic, progressive, neurological disorder of the central nervous system affecting more than 1 million people in the United States, and whereas research suggests the cause of Parkinson's disease is a combination of genetic and environmental factors, but the exact cause and progression of this disease is still unknown. And whereas the symptoms of Parkinson's disease vary from person to person and can include tremors, slowness of movement and rigidity, difficulty with balance, swallowing, chewing, and speaking, cognitive impairment, and dementia, mood disorders such as depression and anxiety, and other symptoms. And whereas research, education, and community support services are needed to find more effective treatments and to provide access to quality care to those living with the disease today. Now, therefore, be it resolved, we, the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the parish president, do hereby proclaim the month of April 2024 as Parkinson's Disease Awareness Month in St. Charles Parish, and urge all community members to learn more about Parkinson's disease from the Davis Finney Foundation for Parkinson's and support the individuals living with this disease and their caregivers. Oh, I got a note here. No one will be present, will be mailed.
Thank you, Mr. Mobley. Appreciate it. Reports, finance, administrative activities. 2024-01-114, the New Orleans Aviation Board. Mr. Kevin Dolio.
Good evening. Thank you,
Dolio. How
Mr.
are
Chair, members, President Jewell. I'm Kevin Dolio, Director of Aviation for the Louis Armstrong New Orleans International Airport. A couple of you know me, but several are new. So as I go through my presentation, there's some slides that are repeats for some, but they're updated and they're brand new for most of you. But before I get into the presentation, we'd like to express our deep appreciation to the St. Charles Parish Water Department. It provided us with more than 13,000 gallons of water during a recent major water main break in Jefferson Parish, which rendered the airport there without any source of water to assist us in running the HVAC system, the air conditioning system in the airport. Without it, it'd be difficult to remain open, keep passengers flowing through the facility, keep our IT systems going. You have to keep all of that equipment cooled. So it really was a big rescue for us, for the water department to step in and assist us. And we just wanted to publicly thank them and express our appreciation for that assistance. So the presentation. This slide, several have seen before, but it's good to give you a sense for the airport and our market and how much of the state's air traffic flows through our facility. 85% of people flying into and out of Louisiana are flying through MSY. We have a very significant catchment area. Catchment area is the area that feeds passengers or customers to the airport, and it extends as far east as Pensacola, Mobile, almost to Lake Charles to the west, and north to Jackson, Mississippi. So we pull from that 3-hour radius, and it's a really unusual situation for a large airport. The next largest airport is Houston to the west. That's over 300 miles away. So anyway, we are the airport for this region. Passenger activity is coming back. 2023, as we forecast, was not quite back to 2019 numbers, but we anticipated we'd be in the 94% of 2019. We finished the year at 93% of 2019 activity. I can tell you through yesterday, for this year, year to date, we are only about 1.1% off 2019 at this period, at this time then. Again, with air service, there's more new air service coming on board. We have Spirit Airways. For the first time in 30-plus years, we picked up nonstop service to San Juan, Puerto Rico. And that Spirit will be providing that service 3 times a week. Thanks. Again, more with air service. Breeze Airlines is still going strong in the market with 10 destinations. We are a very important location for them. We are a designated operations base, which means essentially there's a maintenance base operations here with maintenance folks that's stationed here and a crew base. It's pilots and flight attendants that are based here, live here, and commute in and out of New Orleans. Next slide. Again, more new service. Frontier Airlines began 4 times a week service to Cleveland, 3 times a week to Columbus, Ohio. And Indianapolis, Indiana will come on in May of 2024. British Airways has expanded out to 5 days a week during the peak months. That's going into this period of the year. Air Canada has provided Toronto nonstop service for a good period of time. As we were coming out of the pandemic, they picked up Montreal, and we'll push that service to 4 times a week. Southwest Airlines put more service into San Diego and Long Beach and began new daily service to Burbank, California, will begin in June. In Spirit, the San Pedro Sula, Honduras flight has done very well for them to the point that they're extending it to daily service now instead of 4 or 5 days a week. And Cancun is going to daily service as well. And again, I noted the 3 times weekly San Juan, Puerto Rico service. We've updated some parking services at the airport, adding a valet parking option for $36 a day. It's been a popular option in our parking operation. Parking reservations has always been there. I'd just like to remind that parking reservations can be made if you're at least 24 hours ahead of your flight departure at the time you need to park. You can make reservations in any of the airport parking facilities. You prepay it. You're emailed a barcode, so when you get to the airport, you scan in and out on that barcode regardless of the status of the parking facilities when you get there. We also, to kind of put money where our mouth was, we always spoke to quick, convenient shuttle service from our economy lot on the south side of the airport. So we implemented a 15-minute guarantee product there that if your shuttle takes less than 15 minutes to get you from the south side to the north terminal to fly out, you get half off your parking fee. It's been in place, about a year now, and we paid one time. And it was because of congestion or problems on the north side at the terminal, not on the roadways or on the route over. Terminal concessions. The terminal program has done very, very well. We are down 6%. We're down 6% in employments last year, but we did 27% more in gross sales in the concessions program. So very, very good numbers. Again, on terminal concessions, in 2023, the Airport Experience entity announced in their annual conference that the airport won Best Airport or Best Overall Concessions Program, airport with the best program design, and the best locally inspired restaurant in our operation. Again, more airport accomplishments. This slide has gone up the past few times presented, but it's always updated some. That very, very first bullet, the best airport in North America in ACI's ASQ, Airport Service Quality Program. We won, it was just announced 2 weeks ago for 2023, and it's our third year in a row being named as the best airport in our class of airports from 5 to 15 million passengers a year. And you can see with the other awards, it just goes across the full extent of our operation to most efficient, which gets more into the finances and costs for operating there. Even Uber's fastest airport pickup in 2022. The public relations program has picked up recognition as well. So it's pretty good operation ongoing out there right now. We are currently engaged in a master plan of the airport. The master plan is looking, of course, at some of the more traditional areas and forecasting our future growth and determining capacity needs going forward. It will essentially lay out over a 20-year horizon what the airport's needs are, and then we can be proactive in planning to meet our needs before our needs are on top of us and we're scrambling from behind to react to it. It's also expanded some to include some other really potential events or occurrences at the airport. One is our need to connect to rail. When the Baton Rouge, New Orleans passenger rail line does come into being, there's an MSY stop on that line, but it's on the south side of the airport across Airline Highway from the old terminal at the heavy rail line. So we'll need to connect our passengers from that point around to the north side of the airfield into the terminal to take their flights out. So it's part of the planning process here with the master plan. It's pretty well conceptually, pretty well thought out to this point. Of course, it will start with shuttle operation, shuttle buses from a terminal facility at the rail stop and around to the north terminal on a dedicated all-on airport road off the public roadway system. That will be the first step or first phase in developing to transport those passengers around. We hope to, though, picking up funding from the IIJA program to be able to secure enough funding over time to support an eventual light rail connection from that rail stop around to the North Terminal, which would also loop into the South Campus and gather customers from the rental car facilities and the public parking facilities on that side as well. So that's hoped for in the future. In the interim, will be shuttle buses from a rail stop on a dedicated airport roadway around to the North Terminal to connect those passengers. I didn't on the front end. I meant to recognize that our St. Charles Parish Board member, Mr. Gary Smith, is present here tonight, as are two of our staff people, Ms. Michelle Wilcott and Jada Pierre, who's here at the desk. So with that presentation, if there's any questions, I'd be happy to answer any. Try to be efficient. I know this has to move. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Dolittle.
Very good.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Smith, thank you for coming tonight, too. All right, next on the agenda, 2024-0115, the Parish President's Remarks and Report. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairman. I'll go ahead and get started really quickly with the DeZalman's bulkhead groundbreaking. This morning, I was joined by a few of our council members as well as Public Works to celebrate the kickoff of Phase 1 of the DeZalman's bulkhead. As you know, on the map to your right there, we already completed the first emergency phase after Hurricane Ida, which was that 800 linear feet. This phase will be 1,820 linear feet of 50-foot sheet pile along the bayou. The project spans roughly from Boris Lane to the old U.S. Highway 90, as you can see on the map there. There's going to be a stop log system that will be installed at our boat launch before storms or other high water events, and this will eliminate the need for HESCO baskets in this area once completed. The majority of the work is going to be done from a barge, and the contractor, APC, who did the first phase, did a very good job. They worked very efficiently, and they will have 180 days to complete this phase that you see on the screen here. Next, I guess tied to that, the DeZalman's boat launch will have to close from April 1st to May 17th, considering the forthcoming construction in that area and the need for the contractor to have access. But in the meantime, boaters can launch across the bayou at Valero or in Bayou Gauche. The launch will reopen for May 4th and May 5th for the blessing of the fleet. Barber Road update. The work is nearly complete on the first section of Barber Road improvements. As you can see there, they have the sheet pile installed. The road is complete, and then they hydro-seeded all of the dirt that they excavated. Command Construction has sheet piles in place from Louisiana Street to Wisner, and there is now a shoulder on this road where there once was not. So this is going to make the road much safer, and it's going to make the embankment there of that very steep canal much more stable. So we're excited to see that, and we look forward to getting started on the next phase in a future budget. Kellogg T-wall ribbon cutting. Last week, we celebrated the completion of the Kellogg T-wall in Luling as part of our tour with our council members. This 14.5-foot T-wall features 3 48-inch discharge pipes that provide storm surge protection to our Kellogg pump station and moves water from our interior drainage system to our outer levee protection system. I just want to take a second to thank Mr. Sam Sholey, who is our levees project manager, for all his work on this. We're going to continue to do these hard projects like this, these walls, and other T-walls in areas where we can to keep pushing along the Upper Barataria Risk Reduction Project and help keep that cost and BC ratio in a good place. Over onto the East Bank, the Pintail Contract Services is working on some more of the structural repairs needed at our East Bank Waterworks building. The catwalk for the sea filter is in progress, as well as the new roof on the operations building is nearly complete. Over to the courthouse, first floor construction will be getting underway very soon. Batco construction came in a little over 1.9 million for the renovations to the first floor of the courthouse. That is under the engineer's estimate, and they will be beginning in a couple months. And just to refresh everybody, that is for the clerk of court's office as well as the sheriff's office. We do have some on surplus auction items happening in March. Our procurement office is auctioning off surplus equipment and vehicles online through March 27th. To view a list of the items and place bids, we ask residents to visit publicsurplus.com/sms/stcharlesgov.la/browse/home. We will make sure to run that on the website as well as all socials so that people do not have to figure out how to type that in from what I just said. We want to just lastly say thanks to our AmeriCorps RSVP volunteers. Last week was AmeriCorps Week, and our RSVP staff hosted an appreciation event with snacks, sweet treats, and other volunteer goodies, as well as new volunteer shirts for 62 of our dedicated volunteers. Our St. Charles Parish RSVP volunteers have served more than 30,000 hours last year alone, which is the equivalent to over $900,000 of labor at local organizations. So thank you to all of our RSVP seniors for all they do. That is such a great program to give seniors something beneficial to do during the day. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Parish President Jewell, I'd just like to thank you for the parish tour that you and your staff provided for the council members. It was very informative and I think enjoyed by all.
Thank you. Happy to do it anytime with 3 months of advance notice.
How about next week? Thank you, Parish President Jewell. Ordinances, resolutions introduced for publication, public hearing, Monday, April 1st, 2024, 6 p.m., Council Chambers, Courthouse, Hahnville. 2024-0117, 2023-0326, 2023-0328, 2024-0119, 2024-0120, and copies have been made and placed on your folders of 2024-0121. Ordinance is scheduled for public hearing, introduced at a previous meeting. 2024-0100, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of Amendment Number 1, which approved a professional service agreement with All South Consulting Engineers, LLC, for the 2023 wastewater rate study, project number S230601, in the not-to-exceed amount of $7,500, bringing the overall contract amount to $22,500. Mr. Generis.
Yes, sir. We started this project, and then Parish President Jewell wanted us to look at some different scenarios, so we had to do the amendment, which put us over the threshold of the 20,000. So we're coming in to y'all to get this approved.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Generis. File number 2024-0100 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Is there any council discussion? All righty. Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0100. And that motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Generis. 2024-0101, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of active donation and transfer by and between Chevron USA Incorporated, Chevron, and St. Charles Parish for certain parcels of land comprising approximately 32.392 acres for the purpose of operating and maintaining the Sunset Pump Station. Mr. Jewell.
Thank you. This is an ordinance to approve a donation of land by Chevron. As you know, we will be expanding the sump and adding automated bar screens. So this will allow us, these 32 acres will allow us to help achieve that. And if you have any more questions, I have Sam Sholey here to answer that.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. File number 2024-0101 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Is there any council discussion? Mr. Commodore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Sam, I know we looked at some of this during the tour, and some of this is to put in the new bar screen cleaners. Is this going to be adequate for the new pumps? Is this project going to include those new pumps, or is that going to be something different?
Currently, this project includes widening the canal. There's seven bays of bar screens that's going to be put in with a Waski deck. It's 22 feet wide. The screens are adequate if we expand the station in the future. They're also adequate, too, that when we do the engine upgrade, we plan on doing that first. That's coming later in the year. When we do the engine upgrade, we do expect some capacity increase when we do that, just due to the age of the older pumps. But this does take into account for that. And again, too, this is the widening of this canal is critical, because we believe by widening the canal, we're going to get a better flow coming out of the number 10 canal underneath the bridge. Later in the year, there'll be another section of land coming called Lot 492, which is on the opposite side of the bridge going towards Highway 90. That land is encumbered right now in a conservation easement, and once Chevron clears that up, they'll be donating that section of land later in the year. This is a project President Jewell's been working on for a considerable length of time, along with us in Public Works, and but we have taken into account that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Sam. Is there any other council discussion? Okay, seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0101. And that motion passes unanimously.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
2024-0103, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of Amendment Number 1 to Ordinance 22-5-8, which approved the professional service agreement with Principal Engineering to perform A&E services for the Department of Waterworks East and West Bank generators and structure. Project works WWKS 111 in the amount of $135,259. Mr. Gordon.
Good evening, members of the council. Greg Gordon, Director of Waterworks. First, I'll read just the admin comment regarding this amendment, and then I'll get into a little bit of history just to bring everybody up to speed, because I know there's some newer members of the council here from when this was originally started. So Amendment Number 1 of the Professional Services Agreement for East and West Bank Generators and Structure Project increases the basic engineering services fee by $135,259 to $352,609 from $217,350. The original scope of the project was to replace the existing generators at the East and West Bank water treatment plants with smaller generators, but during the development of the project, larger generators with additional switch gears, feeders, and related equipment were required to provide the reliability and operational effectiveness of the treatment facilities when operating on generator power during emergency events. So, let's kind of back up here. So each plant, we have a West Bank and East Bank plant, each has a 1,000 kW or 1 megawatt generator that generates power during emergency situations. After Ida, we ran them for over 20 days. We only have one generator on each site, so maintenance was basically impossible. It caused a lot of damage to those generators. Each generator, while great and large, are a little bigger than what is necessary, so they do not run at their most optimum since they're bigger than necessary. So that caused a lot of maintenance issues. Now, just to let you know, we did some repairs to them after Hurricane Ida, to the tune of about $60,000 in repairs total to both of them. And we rent a generator, emergency generator at each site, so we can actually do maintenance should we have another emergency till this project is constructed. And that costs about $300,000 a year. So after Ida, we looked at utilizing the FEMA Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, HMGP, which provides the dollars to acquire, construct, and do all of these generator improvements. The parish puts up the funds to do the design, to basically present HMGP and FEMA program with a plan in hand, so to speak. So also to kind of let you all know is that what we found out is that instead of the 1,000 kW generator, it'd be better to have two 500 kW generators side by side, so one can operate, and then we can take that one down, and the next one can operate, and we can do the proper maintenance that we require on the other generator. Furthermore, the switchgear that's currently in place, especially on the West Bank, which is a much older generator, the plant kind of goes down. It blinks, like if you have an old air conditioner and it comes on in your house, your lights may blink, something like that may take place. This switch gear is going to be much more efficient, newer. It should almost be imperceptible from when we move from regular power to generator power. Furthermore, the other reason too, by doing this, for example, in terms of being able to do maintenance on these generators, on the West Bank, after running for almost 20 plus days, the West Bank generator had a very hard time. It was almost bright red. We were afraid to kind of approach it, but we had to keep it going in order to have emergency power to the facility to provide potable water. So just to let everybody know, even though when you're on generator power, Louisiana Department of Health requires you to be on a boil water advisory. However, we wanted to, we still want pressure to provide people water for, obviously, just to have water, bathe, wash, so on and so forth. So that's kind of where we stand right now, and if I'll be here to answer any questions that the council may have.
Thank you, Mr. Gordon. File number 2024-0103 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You will have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any council discussion? Mr. Pillier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Gordon, for your explanation. I was very impressed with the facilities on the West Bank when we did our tour last week, and it's a very critical service for us all. I lost it during Ida, so I know exactly what we're trying to achieve by having reliability and some redundancy. Haven't been involved in electrical and instrumentation projects in the past as a consultant. They tend to be at the end of everything, a big project, but this is primarily, from what I can see, correct me if I'm wrong, an E&I type project.
Correct,
and,
yes.
And in doing so, these things often aren't well defined as you start. So you've got to get into it before you know where you're going to go and how people operate it and all of these things. So I can understand where you're going with this. The only thing I was wondering is in the schedule. Mm-hmm. Originally, the ordinance that was passed had about a 270-day duration, numbers of days for evaluation, programming phase, preliminary design phase, and design phase. Do you think that most of that's done? And we're now getting approached to like 2 years, and I'm just curious, could you elaborate on that? Thanks.
So it does take time. You're correct, sir. So first of all, as part of the going to the Hazard Mitigation Grant Program, you're required to do some kind of conceptual design and kind of present it to them. The parish utilizes a consultant that interacts with the Hazard Mitigation Program officials at FEMA. So we had to present that to them. We kind of get the go-ahead that this is a project that they would fund. Since we made some changes, we also had to approach them again with those changes and get those changes, basically the conceptual design, approved. Furthermore, some of the plant sites, especially the West Bank, which is older, we had to do some different kind of work when we got on site finally and started looking at where the new switchgear would be, where the new generators would be placed, because they can't be placed where the current generator is, because you still have to have the current generator. And doing all that required some survey work, looking at where some of the electrical was underneath the ground, especially with the older plant. We had to do some digging, and it took a lot more research on that side of things, so that took a lot of time.
Thank you for your explanation.
Thank you, Ms. Bailey. Mr. Bouye.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a question about the rental of the generator now, so there will be no need for that anymore?
Well, once this project is done, now, for example, we're still going to be doing that. We're going to be renting generators. This project will probably, after design, by the time we get into the queue, so to speak, with the hazard mitigation program with FEMA, it may take 2 to 3 years before we see the funding. Okay. So we will be doing that. We did that the last 2 years. We've done it, and to let you know, those generators, when we bring those on site, those additional generators, we have a company. The company, as part of the rental process, they come out, they do the maintenance, they run it, they take care of everything, and our staff's there to make sure that everything is tied in correctly.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Jewell.
Thank you, Chairman. This is something I mentioned, I believe, while we were on the tour. When it comes to hurricane season and we need backup generators, whether it's for major booster stations, lift stations, parish buildings, shelter sites, pump stations, what name you, waterworks buildings, we tend to spend a lot of money on the generators because when you got to get them, because by the time you need them, they're gone. And this parish has a long history of spending a lot of money on generators. We've secured 17 generators. I don't know if David DeGeneres is still here, but we've been putting these generators that we would normally rent at our major booster stations, lift stations. We've done a good job of replacing a lot of what would have been rented generators with permanent generators. And this is another step in doing that. I'm reminded of the configuration that we're looking to go to now as the same configuration that we have at our EOC. Our EOC is a critical building, so you want to be able to take one generator down, let it cool down, let it rest, operate on it, do your maintenance on it, bring it back up and do the same thing to that other one. And I can't think of another more critical asset than our water supply to have that same type of configuration on. So I would appreciate everybody's support on this ordinance.
Thank you, Mr. Jewell. Any further council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0103. And that motion passes unanimously. 2024-0104, an ordinance to approve and purchase and/or expropriate 1.501 acre servitude designated as parcel B-3 and a 8,687 square foot servitude designed as P-106 over property owned by Ms. Christine Gerster Smith for the Muntz Pump Station and Drainage Modification Project. Mr. Bingham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm going to defer to Mr. Sholey since he's been handling the Muntz project for us. He has all that information for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bingham. Thank you, Mr. Sam.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, as you just stated, this is the servitude offered to Ms. Chris Smith. We've had some difficulties in the past trying to communicate and move different conversations along with this particular landowner. So we are moving forward with the offer of the servitude now. And, we're hopeful that she's going to accept the offer. If not, we're prepared to do what we need to do to move it forward. This servitude is not critical to the bidding of the Pump Station 1. I just want to make sure you all knew that. This does not preclude us from going forward with Pump Station 1. That's an important issue. There are two parcels here. The larger parcel is for the sump area, and the 8,687 is for the dam that we're putting across the canal. We do need to make a correction here on section 1. The word acre is missing after 1.051. The word acre is in the beginning of the ordinance, and it's also on the right-of-way map. It's just an oversight, and it's missing. We noticed that when we first came in tonight. So we need to make that correction.
All right, Mr. Sam, thank you. All righty. I guess we'll open for public hearing, get the motion first. Okay, I think we're going to handle the motion first before we go to the public hearing. Corey, we can do that? Okay, so I have a motion by Ms. Fonseca, second by Mr. Carmadell to make the amendment on the 1A, Section 1A. Section 1 to include the word acre. So, after 105, okay. Section 1A. So, please cast your votes on the amendment. Yeah, I guess we do. Okay. So what we're going to do is we'll open up the public hearing to include the motion to amendment. So, file number 2024-0104 is now open for public hearing. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record, and you'll have 3 minutes to speak. All righty. Seeing none, public hearing is closed. Is there any council discussion on the motion or the amendment? Okay, please cast your votes for the amended version of file number 2024-0104. And that motion passes unanimously.
Thank
Mr.
you,
Sam,
Mr.
thank you for staying on this project. Okay. Hang on, Mr. Sam. Now I got to do another motion. A motion, okay, so I need a motion and a second to approve file number 2024-0104 as amended. So I have a motion by Mr. Brouillet, second by Ms. Skiba. Please cast your votes for file number 2024-0104 as amended. No. No. Because we did that first. Please cast your votes. And that passes as amended. Thank y'all. Mr. Sam, thank you for staying on these projects. I really do appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate that. It's a joint effort. There isn't a time that I passed President Jewell on the elevator. He asked me, what's the status of this and what's the status of the bar screen? So it's a joint effort, and the same way in the staff meetings at Public Works. It's a priority for all of us. So it's a very important project.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, next on the list, 2024-0105, an ordinance approving and authorizing the execution of change order number 1 for the West Bank Bridge Park improvements, Phase 1, Project RCWB122, to increase the contract amount by $198,096 and increase the contract time by 50 days. Mr. Foray.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the St. Charles Parish Council, Parish President Jew. So when we started navigating this wonderful project, you know, we had some funds available in our budget, and we knew it was going to be a phased approach as we went and continued our phase. Now, with that being said, we knew they would have some items we had to kind of pull back on. One of the things was the exterior fence and some of the concrete behind the turf fields. We knew the most impactful part of that project was the turf field and the new fencing. But as we began that project, we saw and heard how wonderful everybody thought of the exterior fence. Like I said, the base bid, we had limited funds. We put it out for bid. It was going to be a phased approach. We put 720 feet of the exterior fence in the base bid. Came out to 153 a linear foot. Well, when I talked to Danny, I was like, man, we got to hurry up and start phase 2 because it looks so wonderful. I said, get with the contractor, work up a price, and see what it would charge. He honored that bid that he has in the base bid of the first bid. We had an engineer's estimate of $2 million to start the project. This contractor came in at $1.8 million with the average bids of $2.3 million. So we think we got a fair price, we got a good price. He was already mobilized on the site. So instead of him leaving and coming back, we were able to secure that same bid price for the exterior fencing that now goes to all the way to Judge Dufresne Parkway, which will look great. And as far as the concrete, you know, we had some damage during the demo, more than we anticipated. We had some money available to patch it and make it look halfway decent. We didn't think that's what the residents of St. Charles Parish deserve, nor do you deserve, nor do our parish president deserve. We want a better product than that. So we demoing the old concrete, removing the soft soil. We're going to compact it down and then add compacted sand and geofabric, and then 4,000 PSI, 6-inch concrete behind the backstop. So I hope you heard me, and I tell you what, it's a wonderful project. We have some the money is available in this year. We want to take advantage of the pricing we had afforded to us in the first bid. So I'd ask for your support, and any questions you may have, I'm happy to answer them for you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Forey. File number 2024-0105 is now open for public hearing. If there is anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Is there any council discussion? Mr. Commodore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Forey, I'd just like to tell you that this week we hosted the J.B. Martin baseball tournament there, and the compliments on the work that's being done and the notice from, I mean, we had folks from Lutcher, from South Homa, you know, the private schools in the city. It's going noticed, and a lot of people are excited about seeing this project come to fruition. The fact that we can get this added work done and still be under the original bid estimate is great. So I'd like, you know, just give you my support on it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Any other council discussion? Mr. Forey, so some of this concrete repairs and everything is also going to fix some of your subsurface drainage issues that were to the back around the old concession stands and around the backside. That's going to help that drainage issue, get that water out. I appreciate it. Thank you. That'll really make that place shine. So, thank you, Mr. Forey.
Thank you.
Please cast your votes for file number 2024-0105. And that motion passes unanimously. Persons to address the council. 2024-0116, Mr. Robert Goslin, Munch Drainage Pump, a question to something Ms. Fonseca stated. Mr. Goslin, you have 5 minutes to speak.
Is this for me? That's all. Thank you. No, Councilwoman Fonseca said at the last meeting that there was a net zero drainage impact. And I kind of scanned through this and I realized retention ponds are what's gonna stop that. It's still a lot about the Kool-Aid. The Kool-Aid starts on River Road about a quarter of a mile from the parish line, runs in the easterly direction to the CNN railroad tracks. Then it makes 8 90-degree turns before it goes under airline to Prescott Canal, pumped towards the lake. Now, I'm not a hydrologist, but from what I've seen, the larger pumping station is going to be placed near airline and CC Road, where the water has to make 5 turns before it can be pumped out into the spillway. The second pumping station, which is going to be the smaller, north of the CNN railroad tracks. Now, Muntz is an extremely pie-shaped piece of property. About 65 to 70% of the water comes from the south of the CNN tracks. So shouldn't the larger pumping station be placed there so that the 65 to 75% of the water has to make 1 90-degree turn before it's pumped into the spillway? Now, the idea to me is to get the water out as soon as possible for the next thunderstorm that comes along that's going to dump more water. Now, to me, that seems like common sense, and I'm not really sure why they put the larger one at Airline Highway and the smaller one where most of the water is. And it's a question I'd like an answer on it. If they can, figure out why they actually Why did they state that the smaller one be where more water is? That's my question.
Chairman, I'll answer. So you said you're not a hydrologist?
Not a hydrologist. But
Nor am I.
But common sense has a lot to do with it.
Correct. And so what I'll tell you is that all that water is moving up there. And just so you know, we had hydrologists look at this scenario. So again, as I mentioned at the last meeting, part of what we're doing is removing 600 acres of water that's coming in from St. John Parish. St. John's water is in front of your water and everybody else's water who lives in Muntz because it has the shortest route to get up there. Now, that water is going to continue to flow out through Prescott because that is going to be removed. But both of these pump stations are going to be on essentially a common canal. They're both going to be pulling from the same pool of water. So not that I know this for a fact, but in this scenario, it doesn't seem that it matters that one is where it is right now. Right now, all you have is 174 CFS of water, and you're going to go to nearly 600 CFS of water. So I'm happy to call our hydrologist, the third-party engineering firm that we used, but just know that not only did we look at what that drainage study provided, our public works director, who's an engineer and has done hydrology, has done it. Also, our other parish engineers have reviewed it as well. So I wouldn't so much sit here and question why one is where the other is. Really, the question is, how fast can we get it, and let's get it as fast as possible. And that's what we're working on doing. But to your point, I will personally reach out and see if I can get you an answer as to why that is. But the elimination of 600 acres of water means that we're prioritizing all of Muntz's water now, whereas under the current system, you basically have to wait in line behind another parish, essentially, to get pumped out.
And that will not stop, correct? In other words, we're always going to pump their water out.
No.
Is there going to be a levee put between us and them?
There's going to be a series, the whole plan will have to come out, we'll show you, but there'll be a series of berms, of weirs, things of that nature. We will pull the original pump station out. That will gravity flow St. John's water. So I guess in essence, if you had a really, really, really bad rainstorm and that water had to come over that berm, it would get essentially pumped out. But you have 400 CFS of flow underneath the airline highway. That's what the box culverts can flow, 400 CFS. Right now, they're only pumping 176. Now, I don't want to continue to have just a debate back and forth because we have limited time. But just know I will get you an answer if you can leave your contact information with my Public Works Director.
Once the levee's built, will Prescott Canal be closed off?
No, it will free flow like it's designed to do.
Even though there's going to be a levee across it with the hurricane protection levee?
There will be a series of gates.
Okay.
There'll be a series of gates that allow that water to get out and several pump stations that will pull that water as well. If you can give him your contact info.
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Gonsolin? Sir?
Bobby, stop
right there. Yes, I'm sorry.
No, I just wanted to say I wasn't sure whether your question was directed at me or in general to something that I had commented on.
I think you had stated it, and Ms. Scibia, I think you had stated it, and then when I recognized it from watching the video to see who said it, I kind of wanted to ask a question because I know you had stated it, that's all.
Well, I just wanted to let you know, if anytime, give me a call, and I'll be happy to get you additional information as well.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Goslin.
Thank you.
All right, resolutions, 2024-0113, resolution adopting a Louisiana compliance questionnaire as a required part of the St. Charles Parish Annual Financial and Compliance Audit. Mr. Dusel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is the official start of the 2023 audit with the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire. It just states that we are in compliance with public bid law, budgeting, financial accounting laws, debt, you name it. And this is just the starting checklist for them to begin their procedures, which starts in a couple of weeks. So appreciate your support.
Awesome. Thank you, Mr. Dusel. File number 2024-0113 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to come up and speak regarding this item, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. All right. Seeing none, public comment is closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0113. And that motion passes unanimously. All right, 2024-0118, a resolution acknowledging Watson Court LP has notified the members of the St. Charles Parish Council and the parish president of their intent to submit an application for the low-income tax credit program for the development of the Watson Court LP, located on 3 different sites in St. Charles Parish in Boutique, Des Allemands, and Hanville. Ms. Fonseca.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is just a little bit of housekeeping so that this particular request is handled in the appropriate manner. This resolution will be sent from the council as a whole and the parish president, rather than the council members each signing what they received individually. Thank you.
All righty, file number 2024-0118 is now open for public comment. If there's anyone who would like to speak on this matter, please do so now. Please state your name and address for the record. You'll have 3 minutes to speak. Seeing none, the public comment is closed. Is there any council discussion? Seeing none, please cast your votes for file number 2024-0118. And that motion passes unanimously. Appointments. 2024-0071, a resolution appointing a member to the St. Charles Parish Library of Control as the District 5 representative. The council will confirm the nomination to the St. Charles Parish Library Board of Control from the District 5 council member to fill the vacancy created by the expiration of Ms. Tammy Wyndham. 5-year term to begin April 1st, 2024, and expire April 1st, 2029. Ms. Wyndham has served 2 consecutive terms and cannot be reappointed. Our nominee is Ms. Stephanie Meir. Please cast your votes to confirm the appointment of Ms. Stephanie Meir to the St. Charles Parish Library Board of Control as a District 5 representative. And that motion passes unanimously. Congratulations, Ms. Meir. Meetings, announcements, notices, etc. Meetings. The Library Board of Control will be Tuesday, March 19th, 2024, 6 p.m. in the council chambers. The Board of Adjustments, the ZBA, will be Thursday, March 21st, 2024, 6 p.m. in the council chambers. The Housing Authority will be Tuesday, March 26th, 2024, 6 p.m. in the council chambers. The Hospital Service District Number 1 will be Wednesday, March 27th, 2024, 2 p.m. in the council chambers. And the St. Charles Parish Council meeting, April 1st, 2026, at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. Some announcements. Important dates for the March 23rd, 2024 election. Tuesday, March 19th, 2024 is the last day to request absentee by mail ballots. Friday, March 22nd, 2024 is the last day for register to receive voted absentee ballot. And Saturday, March 23rd, 2024 is the election day from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. The parish holiday will be Friday, March 29th, 2024 to celebrate Good Friday. Special matters to be considered by the council. 2024-0111, an executive session. USDC, Eastern District of Louisiana, Civil Action, number E23-EV-01369, St. Charles Parish versus the Federal Emergency Management Agency. And 2024-0112, executive session, USDC, Eastern District of Louisiana, Civil Action number 2222CV02220, the Parish of St. Charles versus American River Transportation. I need a motion and a second to go into executive section. I have a motion by Ms. Fonseca, second by Mr. Pillay. Please cast your votes to go into executive session. And that motion passes unanimously. All council members present, Parish President Matthew Jewell, Legal Services Director Corey Ube, Legal Services Assistant Director Robert Raymond, Dominic Empestada, and Chris Kane. All righty, file number 2024-011, USDC, Eastern District Court, Eastern District of Louisiana, Civil Action, number 2223, EV 01369, St. Charles Parish, ETA versus the Federal Emergency Management Agency. Apologize, yes. I need a motion and a second to return to the regular order of the agenda. I have a motion by Ms. Fonseca, second by Ms. Skiba. Please cast your votes to return to the regular order of the agenda. All right, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Fonseca, for pointing that out. File number 2024-01111, USDC, Eastern District of Louisiana, Civil Action number 223, EV 01369, St. Charles Parish, ETA versus Federal Emergency Management Agency, and file number 2024-0112, USDC, Eastern District of Louisiana, Civil Action number 222, CV-02220, the Parish of St. Charles versus American River Transportation Company, LLC, was discussed in an executive session. I need a motion and a second to adjourn. I have a motion by Mr. Prouillet, second by Ms. Skiba. Please cast your votes to adjourn. She's got it. She's a couple of clicks. Just had to remove it.
Michelle's moving and seconding.
She's fixing it.
She's got it running. All righty. And that motion passes unanimously. On behalf of the council and myself, I wish all of you a happy and safe Easter. Good evening. We're officially adjourned.